this is Lisa with my jungle journey. I am going to be doing volume number 3 today. This is in my little mini-series in honor of my 1-year anniversary living here in Costa Rica. I can't believe I've been here that long already. So today's episode is going to be about my crazy ride up to a little town called, well, it's not that little. It's pretty big for around here where I am here on the southern Pacific coast, but San Isidro up in the mountains and Highway 43 or Route 43. Twisty turnies through the mountains to get up there. Stay tuned and you'll hear all about it. Okay, so we're going to jump right in. But first, before I do, I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can get notified of any additional craziness that comes from my channel. And like the video if you do. I appreciate it very much. Okay, so let's just jump right in. This was a story I wish that I had had a chance to video. It definitely would have done well. But let me just explain. When you feel like you're hanging on the side of a cliff, it's a little hard to grab your camera. So anyway, the first 2 weeks that I was in the hotel, I was with my sister Lisa. And as many of you know, I have an adopted sibling, shall we say. Not officially, but we've known each other since we were little kids. So we decided one day, we heard that there was a Walmart up in a little town called San Isidro. It is up in the mountains, supposed to be a 45-minute drive. We were talking to one of the guys at the hotel and he was saying that he had just been there. It was a quick trip, very easy to get to, etc., etc. Well, if you know from the first couple of videos here in this series, I purchased, before I came here, I purchased a Mitsubishi Montero Sport. It was a 2001, and the mechanic that had checked it out, this was before I got down here, only had a couple of cosmetic things that needed to be done. Apparently there really wasn't anything that needed fixing to secure function of the vehicle, we'll put it that way. However, we kind of found out a little differently. So we set out on a Sunday morning to go to the Walmart up the mountain. And at first, I mean, it's a beautiful sunny day. Now granted, in the beginning of November, it's still rainy season. And as I mentioned in my last video, there were all sorts of landslides and all sorts of stuff going on when we first got here. So we were heading up the mountain on Route 43, and I'm used to mountain driving because the Appalachians are pretty mountainous, and I lived there for 12 years, so I didn't think this was really going to be anything. I had a V6, should have plenty of power. Everything was in working order, so I thought. So we're heading up. We're doing the switchbacks and twisty turnies, and it's you know, escalating up the mountainside. And somewhere along the line, I noticed, okay, something smells funny. Something's getting on the engine. Is that oil? Yeah, it smells like oil. Oil must be burning. Okay, well, I can understand if the engine's a little hot and maybe, you know, maybe they did an oil change and so we've got a little residue. Then I started feeling the, you know, the car is starting to kind of jerk a little bit. Not anything rough, but it's like, wait a minute, okay, we're having some trouble here. And I've had plenty of old vehicles in the years past when I was going through college and whatnot. And I used to actually work on cars with my boyfriend. So I have had plenty of experience with older vehicles in the past. And I started recognizing some things that were happening, and I was telling her, I said, this doesn't make sense, I'm losing power, doesn't say, this is a V6, we should be able to get up this hill very easily. And I have, it's a manual, so I do have a 3, 2, and 1 as well that I could shift down into, and it just was not going like it should have. So it took us a little more, it took us probably the better part of an hour to get up that length of road. And the sights were beautiful. Thank God it was not raining at that time. Oh, just hold on. So by the time we got there, I was really starting to get a little bit anxiety ridden, we'll put it that way, because it was not behaving properly. We got out to the major 4-lane highway and it really started knocking. So we got down towards Walmart, and I was doing everything I could remember and think about to make sure that it would continue going. It was trying to stall out on me, and it's like, oh, this is just not cool. We got to the area where we were supposed to turn, you know, the median, and turn into the Walmart, and it stopped right there in traffic. It's like, oh, this is so fun. I know many of you have probably had that heart-stopping kind of experience before if you've ever had an older vehicle that was temperamental. Anyway, I did everything that I could as quickly as I could, and I was able to get it to start again really quickly, and literally just made it through the last 2 lanes of traffic inside the gate of Walmart and pulled it as hard as I could into the first parking space right next to the fence. And that's when the transmission fluid hose came off, and the rest of the transmission fluid went all over the pavement. So what I come to find out was there wasn't a proper clamp. The hose was worn out. I didn't know this until later, because I ended up calling Sarah Elena, thank God for her again, and she connected me with a guy down in Dominical who knew a mechanic that worked for him sometimes, and he sent him up on a Sunday, of course, when everything is closed, of course. But he was on his way up, and time was ticking, and he didn't show, and he didn't show. And then finally, because cell service too, I had to get one of those chips for my phone, right? But it wasn't, I think we must have been in a place where it wasn't the best. So thank God Lisa had her, what was it? I think it was AT&T international call. So anyway, the gentleman texted us and let us know that the guy he sent broke down on the mountain as well. So somebody was going to rescue him, and then they all came together to meet us in the parking lot of Walmart on a Sunday afternoon where no one was open and nobody had parts. Oh my gosh, 8 hours later, I'm just going to go ahead and cut to the chase. 8 hours later, somehow they managed to find a hose that they could fashion into a temporary fix and also temporarily clamp it so that I could get down off the mountain and take it into town the next day. If you've been to Costa Rica before, you know that it gets dark really early, like 5 o'clock. So we had started up the hill at, I don't know, I don't think we got there until noon. So by the time it was available for us to drive home, it was completely dark and it was raining now. So I don't have the best night vision, and to go down twisty turnies down a mountain that you don't know in the dark, and on top of it, it was very thick fog. Lisa wasn't used to driving in the mountains, even though I was, but she could see. So she got elected, and she's like, ooh, all the way down the mountain. But to make things even more comical, we got stuck behind this truck. It was like a little Datsun truck, and it was stacked with these boxes that went straight up. It was literally twice the size, twice the height of the truck. So if you were to look at it and measure it, it's like, it reminded me of Dr. Seuss. Because here's all this stacked load of whatever, I think it was chickens. And it was around the curves, the boxes were like swaying, and the truck was following suit. And it's like, oh my God, he's going to go over. Honestly, he's going to go over. So he was traveling 10 miles an hour to 12 miles an hour down this road that is supposed to, on a normal good day, take you 45 minutes. An hour and a half later, And the other thing is the people that had rescued us, they decided that they didn't want to wait behind him because we were literally on curves. Couldn't see a place. There was no turning. There were no turning lanes. There were no passing lanes. There was no place to pass. The one thing that you learn about being in Costa Rica is like double lines are suggested and speed limits are suggested. So basically, do whatever you're going to do at your own risk. And that's what a lot of people will do here, especially, the locals on the roads. So I had people, I was just amazed, passing us in the dark, in the rain, in the fog, around curves, passing this truck. And one of them was the car that had come to, oh, we'll lead you down the mountain. We'll make sure that if you break down, we'll get you. They took off. We were there by ourselves saying, okay, good. We're going to get home. Honestly, we're going to get home and we're going to like kiss the ground when we get there. So there you go. That was my first and only experience in my Montero Mitsubishis. My Montero up the road. I swore after we got back I would never go there again. I'm not crazy about Walmart anyway, and it was not worth it. It was not worth it. I mean, to get some basic things that are difficult to get here, that's fine and dandy. And I have been twice more with a couple of other friends, but with this vehicle, the blessing of it is that it showed me that there are things that need to get fixed on this vehicle. So I did end up also, another blessing through it is we saw the gentleman that had told us about the Walmart the next day, and he said, so how did your trip go? So we told him, and he said, oh my God. Well, he connected me with the most amazing mechanic ever. Love him to bits. I will not take my vehicle to anybody else. And he has put it back to rights to where I don't have any problem anymore. Oh, the other thing I found out, my tires were bald. So I needed a new set of tires as well, which that definitely did not make me feel good driving down the mountainside in the rain with that. So yeah, that's one of those stories that I didn't tell my mom, which I know now she's hearing it because she's watching this video. So hi, Mom. Yeah, you don't want to worry people, but we are very careful. But yeah, we both swore it's like, no, we're not going to do this again. If we do, we'll take a taxi. That's one of the things that people will do around here. There's out here on the coast, the Pacific coast, in the southern zone, you're probably not going to find an Uber driver per se. It's not technically legal yet, although you can find Uber folks all around San Jose and other places closer to the cities. So, but taxi is the best way, or private transport here. Anyway, I've taken up a lot of your time today. I hope that this has been at least laughable. Maybe it's given you a giggle, or maybe you've been clenching your teeth because you've had some experience somewhat similar. But in any case, yes, there have been many instances here over the last 12 months that I have laughed about. I have probably laughed about more than anything, because again, it's all an adventure. It depends on how you look at it. And I'm not one of those folks that likes to dwell or to put energy into things that are going to make me feel bad. So I'd much rather stay upbeat and look at things in a positive way. I mean, that's who I am. If it wasn't the case, I probably would not have been able to survive the cancer and multiple surgeries and all that other stuff. I look at things from a Pollyanna way of looking at it, I guess, whatever you want to call it. But I find that life is a whole lot more enjoyable that way, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So in any case, if you've enjoyed it, please again, like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and I will see you next time on my mini-series. I got more stories to tell you. Okay, have a wonderful day. Pura Vida.